Well, heading overseas now, Syria's opposition leaders have drafted the most concrete plan yet to end the 5-year war that's devastated the country. The draft plan is backed by Britain and other allies and is significant in that it allows for President Bashar al-Assad to remain in power for an interim period before a transfer of power to an elected government. Anne Barker has our report.
There's panic on the streets as another airstrike hits eastern Aleppo. Residents run in terror as nearby homes are reduced to rubble. Rescue workers carry the wounded to stretchers, and as always, many of the casualties are children. It's the same Suqari neighbourhood where only 2 days ago Syrian forces allegedly dropped bombs carrying deadly chlorine gas. The Assad regime has again denied it's used chemical weapons, but Suqari is a rebel stronghold the government is determined to capture. The dead and wounded are ferried to makeshift hospitals, barely able to cope since Tuesday's chlorine attack, and because medicines and doctors are in desperately short supply. Unconfirmed reports say the last surgeon operating in Aleppo has also been killed. The Syrian regime denies it's to blame for the ongoing bloodshed. It's repeatedly accused foreign countries of trying to destroy Syria, namely the US and its allies. And Syria's Deputy Foreign Minister Faisal Mekdad says President Assad has no plans to step down.
We have a very strong government. We have sustained a 6-year war against Syria, and I assure you we shall continue as long as the intervention takes place.
In London, a Syrian opposition coalition has drawn up the most detailed plan yet to end the conflict and force President Assad from power. Hind Kabawat from the Opposition High Negotiations Committee has begged the international community to take the steps necessary to end the bloodshed.
I cannot anymore tolerate killing the Syrian civilians. We need to stop the killings, and this is also the commitment and the responsibility of the international community to work and help us in preventing death to our children.
The opposition plan calls for a full ceasefire to take effect to allow 6 months of negotiations with the Assad regime. It has the backing of Britain and the Saudi government. The Saudi Foreign Minister Adel Al-Jubeir was at the meeting in London.
If Bashar al-Assad continues to be obstinate and continues to drag his feet and continues to refuse to engage seriously, then obviously there will have to be a plan B, which would involve more stepped-up military activity.
Britain's Foreign Minister Boris Johnson says it's critical the world and key stakeholders see a future for Syria beyond the Assad regime.
That was one of the big questions we've been unable to answer satisfactorily. What happens when Assad finally goes? And of course, there is widespread agreement across the world that he must go, including with the Russians. There's been less clarity about the post-Assad vision.
Meanwhile, Turkey's entry into the war to fight Islamic State militants has paid some dividends. Residents have begun returning to the border town of Jarablus, recaptured from IS by Turkish forces last month, although it's come at considerable cost, with Turkish soldiers and Kurdish fighters supporting the US-led coalition among the scores killed. Turkey says it's now ready to cooperate with the US against the biggest Islamic State stronghold of all, their de facto capital, Raqqa.
That's Anne Barker reporting on that draft plan from the Syrian opposition to try to bring that war in that country to a halt.